Welcome back. I'm sitting here with Dr. Arata, who's coming to tell us today about something very important that we should be ready for the upcoming holidays. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning. I'm not sure I wanted to characterize it quite like that.
Well, the reason I said so was because, you know, this is a really important thing we're going to talk about today, and we're in the time of year where it's really hard for some of us to resist all the goodies that happen between Halloween and New Year's. But today we're going to talk about the importance of weight loss.
Yes, and maybe another way to kind of put the frame on this is it's something to look forward to for your resolution on New Year's.
I like that, and you can prep right now and look forward to it. That's great.
That's probably a little bit more palatable to the audience.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, why is weight loss so important to overall health, Doctor?
It's a great question, and if you look across the spectrum at various diseases, very common diseases, there are two risk factors that really kind of stand out. One of them is age. So as we get older, we are more likely to have a host of various conditions. And you know, I think most of us would like to actually live longer, but that's not necessarily something we have a lot of control over. We do have some control, but we have much more control over our weight. And that would be item number 2 as far as a risk factor that you can broadly apply to numerous conditions. So whether you're talking about reducing your cancer risk, your diabetes risk, heart disease, Alzheimer's, all of these conditions which are incredibly common, which we have some answers for in medicine, in some cases we don't have very good answers like Alzheimer's. Weight loss actually can help you either delay or maybe even prevent these things from happening.
Oh my goodness.
And even when you have these conditions, if you lose weight, they get better or go away. And a great example of that is diabetes.
Yes, that's true.
If you lose weight in diabetes, you can become non-diabetic in that process. Now, not everybody, but
there's a chance.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another thing which is really interesting is that even in the absence of identified disease, you can see what happens to the body as we gain weight. So for example, as your belly grows, your brain shrinks.
Oh.
Not many people are aware of that.
I didn't know that.
But that's what happens.
And that is going to be a way of thinking about it from now on.
That's right. That's right. So as this gets bigger, that's getting smaller, and that's kind of the opposite of what we want.
It is the opposite of what
Definitely the opposite.
Uh-oh. And that's what I just have to say, uh-oh.
No, I think you're okay. I think you're okay. But
I'm hidden by a desk, Doctor. But anyway, okay. Well, that's an exciting, well, that is a whole new way of, whole new outlook.
Yeah, I think it's a really great perspective to have. Keep your brain large and happy.
Keep your brain, yes. Well, tell me, why do people sometimes have real trouble losing weight? I mean, obviously, I remember reading Barbara Streisand commenting that she just can't stand dieting and can't stand exercising, and that it's just been a constant her entire life to try to keep her body in shape. And a lot of people feel the same way, but what are some other reasons why people have true problems in weight loss?
Another excellent question, and the thing is that we already kind of were just talking about one of the main reasons. It's the brain.
Oh, okay.
In many instances, it's the brain. So our brain is very unique in terms of the fact that we have emotions and drives that are probably some of the most powerful influences on us.
Wow.
So for example, cravings.
Yes.
You mentioned Halloween and candy and
chocolate. This is the season.
Chocolate is one of the great cravings for humans.
And it's a good craving.
It is. It's fantastic.
It's a fantastic craving.
Just maybe a little less sugar than the average.
Okay. Yes, right.
But our brain is such a powerful influence on our behavior. It's really what drives our behavior. And our behavior has evolved for energy obtaining and energy conservation. And what I mean by that is that, you know, we need nutrition and food to operate, and our bodies have the ability to store.
Oh.
And that's what actually fat is an ideal storage of energy. And it will try to maintain that. You can kind of think of it as a set point almost.
Yes.
That you may do things to lose weight, and your brain's going to say, oh no, 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 no. We are going to give you cravings that are going to make you hungry, that are going to make you want to eat more, and other behavioral changes to maintain that weight.
That is so funny, because I've remarked on that with my friends as we're in exercising classes and things. And we say, gosh, I just can't seem to get below this level on the scale.
Yes.
So that's a set point that we're setting for ourselves.
Yes, and so you know, actually one of the things that's been coined is keep your heck in check. as a way to help with weight loss. And
Heck.
is H is hunger,
Okay.
E is energy, and C is cravings. And so if you're trying to lose weight and you're experiencing heck, you're going to have a heck of a time losing weight.
Oh, no.
So we need to be aware of things that give us hunger or cause hunger, that drain our energy and cause cravings, and try to develop a strategy where we sort of keep those things minimized,
Yes.
reduce their influence on our behavior.
Oh, that's incredible. Now, that is our brain and our learned responses and learned behaviors that contribute to this struggle. But do hormones also play a part?
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, some of these hormones actually, where they really influence is in the brain.
Yes.
But there are another sort of subset of hormones that are probably more familiar to a lot of people, and how they work with weight loss is maybe a little bit not understood. And one of those hormones is thyroid hormone.
Yes.
So thyroid hormone is very important in terms of our energy production. Okay, hypothyroidism is a condition where we don't have enough thyroid, or not an optimal amount, and it's extremely common.
Yes.
In fact, if you look at autoimmune conditions, which are unfortunately on the rise, Hashimoto's is a type of thyroiditis that's autoimmune in nature, and it's the most common form of thyroid disease in this country.
Okay.
And the thyroid hormone is produced by the thyroid gland as a precursor, which then has to be modified to an active form. Okay?
Wow.
So this process of turning it into an active form involves an enzyme that can go one of two ways. You can make the active form, which is T3, or reverse T3, which is inactive.
Okay.
Inactive forms of thyroid, or reverse T3, creates a hibernation type state.
Oh.
Okay? So as
So
we
you're
become...
going to gain
That's right.
adipose and fat because you're hibernating.
In essence, that's exactly what's happening. And
Oh.
so we will see as people reduce their caloric intake. In other words, if you diet, you cut your intake down 500 calories a day,
Yes.
your body's going to respond and say, wait a minute, there's a problem here. We're
I
not
knew
getting
it.
enough energy. We need to conserve it.
Yes.
It goes into hibernation mode. And the interesting thing about it is if you do normal tests to look at your thyroid function, you won't detect it. In fact, it may look the opposite. You may look hyperthyroid
Oh.
because the brain sees the reverse T3 and says, hey, we've got lots of thyroid hormone running around.
Right.
So it's a way that kind of unfortunately tricks the brain, and it creates this conserve energy, pack the weight on, even though we're eating less.
That is unfair.
It's totally unfair. It is not right.
That's not okay. Well, so really it's not a matter of just watching calories.
Absolutely. That is totally the issue that I think we need to understand. It is not a math problem. It is not calories in, calories out.
Okay.
Okay? What we eat in terms of the composition of our food actually is important. Not only that, the order in which we eat things.
I have heard that.
Yes. So there's actually been some very fascinating studies. If you give people a meal that consists of, let's say, some ham, maybe some lettuce and tomato, and then a ciabatta roll or something like that.
Sure.
If you eat them where you have the roll first, which is kind of like what we do when we go to a restaurant, we're given bread.
Absolutely. Yes.
We're loaded with carbs first.
Yes.
Then
but we're not angry at our waiter, at our wait staff.
This
So
is true.
you got the carbs.
This is true.
And you got a drink of some kind.
And we're happy.
And then you're not yelling at somebody saying, I'm hungry.
Very good point. And I think they understand that.
Yeah, I think they do.
But if we then follow it with the protein or follow it with the vegetables,
Yes.
we will see an actual increase in insulin response. We will see increase in the glucose relative to if we did it the opposite way. So if we actually ate the ham
Yes.
first
Yes.
and followed it with the bread, we see less of a glycemic response, which then obviously leads to weight gain, or can lead to it. It can predispose us to diabetes. And the same thing happens when we eat the bread, the lettuce and tomato, and the meat at the same time. In other words, a sandwich,
Yes.
which is very common.
And delicious.
Yes, it can be. That actually does the same thing.
Oh.
So it does matter not only what the composition of carbs, fats, and proteins are, but it does matter the timing.
Yes.
And if we eat protein first, we have less of a weight gain type of stimulus.
Oh my goodness. It's fascinating to kind of understand that it's just a matter of sequence and logistics, really, that could make a significant change.
Absolutely, these things do matter.
But then again, hormones still do play a part. So
Yes.
can we talk about that?
Sure. So we touched on a common hormone, thyroid hormone.
Yes.
There's another hormone that plays a very key role in this, which maybe people aren't familiar with. It's called leptin. Leptin.
Leptin.
Leptin. Yes.
Where is this produced? In the brain?
Primarily in the fat cells.
Oh, okay.
So we have thought that part of our bodies, like adipose tissue, fat, and muscle, really didn't do much. They were cushions, or they helped us move. In fact, they secrete many hormones and hormone-like substances. And the adipose tissue secrete two very important ones, leptin and adiponectin.
Okay.
Leptin is the satiety hormone.
So you feel satiated?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
So leptin is very nice to have around because it makes us feel full and satisfied, and we don't have these urges to eat.
Yes.
Okay. The other thing leptin does is very important in energy management. So whether fat cells are being produced or enlarged, or whether they're being consumed, really depends upon the level of leptin, and more importantly perhaps is what we call leptin resistance. Many people are familiar with insulin resistance. In fact, for type 2 diabetes, that's really what's going on.
Yes.
Well, the same process can happen with leptin, where the body does not respond to the signal of the leptin, so it's circulating throughout our bodies, telling us that, okay, let's burn a little fat, but the cells are like, I don't see you. What are you talking about?
Oh my goodness.
So we see a rise in leptin levels. The hormones go up, they increase because their effect is diminished. And that's what leptin resistance is.
Oh my goodness. How are you able to monitor or manipulate any of these? Is there a simple way?
Well, there are some simple things you can do. You actually can test these things, which is great. So we have evolved the capability to actually measure these hormones and see what happens over time and see what types of responses you get to various interventions. And the things that you can do are, as I mentioned, try to make sure that those brain-related behaviors are understood and factor that into the equation. You need to give yourself things that are going to relieve your hunger, that are going to satisfy your craving.
Yes.
If you try to just say cold turkey, I am not going to deal with these cravings, it's probably not going to work. Maybe a very small percentage of the population can do that. Most of us cannot.
Yes.
So it's better to have a little bit of something that you're craving to satisfy that than to deny it and then make it overwhelming and basically cave into a huge bag of Halloween candy.
Oh, true. And if you're denying those cravings, you shouldn't be operating large machinery like an automobile, something like
Bad
that.
idea.
Yeah, don't drive. And certainly don't shop when you're hungry. Don't
No, that's
go grocery
definitely a
shopping.
no-no.
Don't be doing that. But you always do hear with it, anytime you begin a weight loss regimen, that you should speak to your physician first. So how can a doctor help you lose weight?
Well, I think the most important role that a physician can have in this is to make sure that you are in good enough health, that there's no risks associated with it. Now, generally speaking, improving your diet is a safe thing. So if you have other conditions which are known, that's really when you should definitely want to see your physician. So for example, if you have cancer or you have bad heart disease or things of that nature, if you're not sick, there is no real risk in eating well. In fact, it'll probably prevent you from being sick. But the other aspects of where a physician can help you is that one of the key things for weight loss really is behavior change. And health coaches are professionals that are trained specifically in this.
Yes.
We need help.
Yes.
I think that's probably the most important thing to understand. The biggest takeaway I can give you is that if you're going to try to do something like this, don't do it alone.
Don't do it alone. You do need some support. You
Absolutely.
do need a health coach. And what we can find at Arata Medical is a health coach that is also a medical doctor that understands all of these different aspects. It's more than just joining a weight loss community and getting some kind of one-on-one support from another human being, but they may not have all of this important information about your very own body makeup. And we can find that at Arata Medical.
That's right. That's a very good point.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, doctor, thank you for coming in and speaking with us about this today. It's very important to learn, and
You're
always
welcome.
good to see you here at the Village.
My pleasure.
And thank you for being here.
All right.
And thank you. Do stand by because we'll be right back after this.